This video is about question 2 of the Poetry Anthology section of the EDUCAS English Lit Paper 1 exam. Question 1 gives you 20 minutes to write about a poem, and they give you a copy of the poem. Question 2 tells you to choose one other poem from the anthology which writes about the same theme. In 2018, the theme was war, but it might be a different theme like love or time or something else in your exam. It will say, compare the way the poet presents the theme in your chosen poem with the way this theme was presented in the question 1 poem. You can compare the content of the poems and the structure of the poems, so what they're about, how they're organized. You can compare how the writers create effects. So how do they make war seem, for example, shocking or whatever? Try and use appropriate terminology. If you're talking about a simile, use the word simile. If you're talking about a metaphor, use the word metaphor, if you can. And crucially, don't forget to talk about the contexts of the poems. So what do you know about the time in which these poems were written? What do you know about the writers of these poems and how those things influence them? Really handily, although you're not given the anthology, you are given a list of all the poems. So I'd be running through this list and penciling all the poems about war and then deciding which one of these poems do I want to compare with the poem in question 1. And if I had done the exam in 2018, I'd have chosen this poem because it's about war. And like Mammoth's Wood, it presents war quite horribly. And it's just a fantastic poem I really love. So I'd be writing about this one. In my answer, I would want to start quite similar to question 1, really. I'm going to focus on my chosen poem. I'm going to summarize how it's presented. I'm going to quote it. And every now and again, I'm just going to then compare with how Mammoth's Wood, or how the first poem presented that theme. So I might say in my essay, Dulce Decorum Est by Wilfred Owen is a First World War poem about the horrors of war. Like Mammoth's Wood by Owen Shears, it draws our attention to how young lives were wasted. Then I'd need a quotation, so I'd search my memory and I'd think, aha, coughing like hags. That's a quotation. And it presents war in a certain way. So I might say, Owen describes the soldiers as coughing like hags, which presents war not as something admirable and heroic, but as something miserable and pathetic. The word coughing shows that the men were weak and ill. It almost makes them sound pathetic. The simile like hags is significant because the word hags refers to ugly old women or witches, and it suggests the men did not look like strong masculine heroes, but the very opposite. Then I'd pick a second quotation and I'd write about that. But before I wrote about my second quotation, I'd stop and think, hang on a minute, I'm meant to be comparing. So when I've written about this one, I might say, this is similar to Mammoth's Wood because Mammoth's Wood also presents war in a very negative light. For example, when Shears refers to the wasted young, it suggests, and then I'm literally just going to copy my answer from question 1. It's absolutely fine to copy your answers from question 1 and to reuse them in question 2. You're allowed to do that. You can get away with it. The key thing is that you need to be comparing both poems. And you've got twice as long, so you're trying to find 5 short quotations from your poem. And when you've written about each one, after each one, try and link it back to 5 short quotations or more from your first